What if your thoughts aren't really yours? Most of us believe our thoughts come from our own minds. We believe we decide what we like, who we trust, what we avoid, and what we're drawn to. But inside every one of us, there are tiny forms of life that can influence how we act and feel. They don't think about it, they don't have motives, they're just trying to live. But in doing that, they can touch the edges of our behaviour. This matters because it changes how we see ourselves. It changes what we mean when we say, me. Your body is full of microscopic life, more of them than your own cells. There are bacteria in your gut, on your skin, in your mouth, and deep inside your tissues. Most of these tiny partners are helpful. They help you digest food, they produce vitamins, they train your immune system, they keep harmful microbes in check. Without them, you wouldn't survive long. You don't notice them, but they're always there, doing their work. But not all microscopic life inside a body is helpful. Some organisms survive by influencing the animals they live in. They don't do this on purpose. They don't think. It's simply that the ones that happen to guide their host's behavior ended up spreading better. Nature kept those traits. Over time, small nudges became reliable patterns. And this is where things start to get unsettling. There's a fungus found in forests that infects ants. Ants live in huge colonies, each one working, moving, following trails. But when a spore from this fungus lands on an ant, everything changes quietly from the inside. At first, the ant looks normal. It walks, it works, it listens to the colony's signals. But slowly, something changes. The ant leaves the colony, it climbs up a plant, it stops at a very specific height and clamps down with its jaws. Then it just stays there. The ant dies in that position, and then the fungus grows out of its body, releasing new spores onto the ground below. Other ants walk by. The cycle continues. The fungus doesn't think climb. It simply influences the ant's nervous system in a way that helps the fungus survive. And that's enough. Here's another example. There's a parasite that infects snails. It spreads through the snail's body until it reaches the snail's eye stalks. Then the eye stalks swell and pulse with bright colour and movement. Birds see the snail easily now and eat it. The parasite then moves into the bird where it continues its life. The snail didn't decide any of this. The bird didn't decide either. The parasite didn't plan it, but the outcome is clear. These stories tell us something simple but powerful. Behavior can be shaped from inside. Now here's where this all moves closer to us. There's a parasite called Toxoplasma gondii. It's tiny, just one cell. It completes its life in cats, but it can infect almost any warm-blooded animal. When a rodent is infected, its behavior changes. Rodents are normally terrified of cats. The smell of a cat triggers instinctive fear. But infected rodents lose that fear. Some even seem attracted to the scent. This makes them easier prey. And when the cat eats the rodent, the parasite returns to the host where it can reproduce. This isn't a guess. Scientists have seen this again and again in experiments. The parasite affects parts of the rodent's brain linked to fear and attraction. The rodent doesn't know anything is wrong. It just reacts differently. The important part is this. The parasite doesn't need to control everything about the rodent. It changes exactly one instinct. And that instinct is enough. Humans can also carry toxoplasma. Many people get it from undercooked meat or from cleaning cat litter. For most people, nothing seems to happen. They live their lives normally. But some research suggests there may be very small shifts in behavior. The changes aren't dramatic, not movie-style mind control. Just subtle patterns that show up when we look at large groups of people. Some studies suggest infected people might be slightly more likely to take risks. Other studies have found slower reaction times. Some research has explored possible links with mental health conditions. Not everyone with toxoplasma shows these effects, and the influences are gentle, not controlling. But here's the part that stands out. Around 1/3 of the world's population carries this parasite. It's possible millions of people have a microscopic passenger that touches the edges of what they feel and how they respond to the world. But Toxoplasma is only one example. There are many more organisms inside the human body that influence how we feel. Let's look at the gut. Your gut is full of bacteria that break down food, but they also produce chemicals that affect the brain. The gut and the brain are connected by a long network of nerves and chemical signals. When your gut changes, your mood can change, your appetite can change, your stress level can change. Some of the chemicals involved in mood, like serotonin, are heavily influenced by bacteria in the gut. Most serotonin in the body is made in the digestive system, not the brain. So if the community of bacteria changes, the signals to the brain change. Scientists have found links between gut bacteria and anxiety. Other studies have found links with depression. When researchers change the bacteria in animals, their behavior can shift in noticeable ways. Again, these shifts aren't total control. They're small changes, but even small changes can matter. This leads to a deeper idea. Your mind isn't separate from your body, and your body isn't just you. It's a shared space. Tiny life forms have lived inside animals long before humans existed. We evolved with them. Our ancestors survived because some microbes helped them digest new foods, resist disease, and manage stress. These relationships shaped us. They're part of how we became who we are. The mind didn't evolve alone. It evolved inside an ecosystem. This doesn't mean we don't have free will. It doesn't mean our thoughts aren't ours. It just means the story is more complex and more interesting. Your mind is influenced by your memories, your environment, your relationships, your genes, your culture, your body, and yes, the tiny living things inside you. All at the same time. But here's what's interesting. If microbes and parasites can influence behavior, then changing them might help treat certain emotional or mental health challenges. Some scientists are studying whether probiotics could help reduce anxiety. Others are looking at how gut bacteria might affect depression. Some are exploring whether treating infections could help with certain thought patterns. This could one day open new ways of helping people feel better. But it also raises questions. If we can adjust behavior by changing biology, how do we use that power responsibly? Which behaviors are we fixing? Who decides what counts as normal? What if personality is partly shaped by these organisms too? This is where the subject becomes less about science and more about identity. Because if our thoughts and feelings come from many sources, then the idea of self becomes richer and more connected. You're not a single, isolated mind floating in a sealed container. You're a living network. You're a shared world. This doesn't make you less human. It makes you part of life's larger pattern. You're a host, but also a partner. You're influenced, but also influencing. You're shaped, but also shaping. Your thoughts are still real, your emotions are still valid, your choices still matter. They're just not born in isolation. They come from a body that's full of life. The mind is not one voice, it's a chorus. And that's what makes it beautiful. Does it bother you that there are tiny little beings inside you that could be shaping your thoughts? Comment what you think down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there.